Well, hey there, friend. Welcome back to the Position to Prosper podcast. I'm your host, Erica Pyle. And today we're going to be talking about how to make your first real money in your online business. So as we're getting started here, wow, just now realizing that you're hearing me. Hold, please. Oh my goodness. You know what? I've been doing this for how long? And I keep on forgetting that I can't have my window open on my computer. So sorry for that. So here's the deal. Welcome back to the Position to Prosper podcast. I'm your host, Erica Pyle. And today we're going to be talking about how to make your first real money in your kingdom online business, in any business online, really. And because we're going to be talking about this idea of making money, I have to tell you, I have to share this disclaimer with you. Are you ready? So the deal is this. I cannot guarantee any results or any earnings as a result of you consuming this content that I'm sharing with you. I'm going to be talking a little bit later on about a workshop that I have, and it's the same disclaimer that we put onto that. I know it's wild and it's crazy, but these are the internet times that we live in, where people will watch a free YouTube video or listen to a podcast episode, and then they'll all of a sudden think, oh, she promised me that this would work. Listen, I'm going to tell you from the get-go, and I always talk to people about this when we work together in our programs, is that it's really going to depend on the willingness on your part, your willingness to actually do the things that move the needle in a business. And that's a lot of what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm kind of excited to be getting into this and not mad at the fact that I had to share that earnings disclosure or disclaimer with you. Okay, so for those of you who are watching with me on YouTube, hello, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm about to switch my glasses for a hot minute. Okay, woo, so much better. So I have these are raw optics. I'm not affiliated, but bottom line was a couple years ago, I was having some really crazy headaches after being on my laptop and on my phone a lot during the day, and especially during launches for things. And I couldn't get the migraines to stop. And a friend of mine recommended that I get blue blockers or the blue light blockers that actually work, and not just the $20 ones that you can get off of whatever xyz.com. And I got these, and they actually made a difference. So it's a little weird. I know that they're yellow lenses. We're going to be fine if you're watching the episode on video. But for right now, you can see, for me, the eye fatigue goes down pretty quickly. I don't know. I should probably talk to Raw Optics about getting a link so I could share with you guys. But I can see the glare, and I don't know if that's giving you guys a hard time. What do you think? Is that hard for you? I like these better in the screen. Now we're off tangent totally. Okay, let's get back to our topic, okay? So we're going to be talking today about making your first real money in your online business. And these days, it's like everybody is looking to have a side hustle online. I don't know. Have you noticed? I think it's just the environment, right? It's just like that's what we do right now. But also, I was looking at some statistics. I actually started looking at them last year, and so I'm sure that they're probably even more telling at this point. But I don't know if you know this, but Gen Z, the statistics around what percentage of that generation are looking to be entrepreneurial and do business online is astronomical. We're talking I think the stat is somewhere around 60%. So we're talking that this Gen Z who are, I think that the Gen Z is 1997 to, I want to say 2012, I think 2010 maybe. So that generation, they were born to actually function online, and it just seems really easy for them. These are the ones that came out of the womb just knowing how to operate an iPhone. I have 2 kids that are in Gen Z, and it's the truth. They are just so intuitive. Everything is just so easy for them. So just with that, but it's even, I think the pandemic and what we experienced, 5 years ago when it was like everyone had to stay home and be on these screens, and businesses online took off, and we all educated ourselves in how to operate better online. And, even before that, I might notice this because I was in it during the time, but, from way early, and then I took a break. But in 2015, I came back into the network marketing space, into the MLM direct sales space. And, there was just a lot of focus on how do you sell online? And there was tension before 2020 of like, well, I like to do parties. I like to do gatherings, in-person gatherings. And then there were a few people that were like, I want to learn how to do this online. I was one of those people. Like from the get-go in my second go round of MLM and network marketing, I was like, I want to do it online. I had just become a certified holistic health coach. I was repping a health product, a line of health products, lifestyle health products. And I was like, I am not for the parties. I'm an introvert. So like first and foremost, thinking about like putting all of my stuff together and going to someone's house, like it just was really, really hard for me. I'm an educator that like I love teaching and I love speaking. And so I was like, you know what, if I can figure out how to do this online, I would much rather do that. And so I would do Facebook groups and have, classes inside of my Facebook groups, and I was good to go. But our generation, I'm Gen X, like from Gen X and forward, millennials, and stuff, our thing is not like naturally online. We have to work for that or work towards that, but more and more as we go into the future, you're finding that so many people, they want to be doing something online. They wanted to be doing a side hustle. You've got, in my community of Jesus girls, of, faith-filled, spirit-filled, do all the things, multi-passionate mamas. It's like, I want to have the kids and I want to have the marriage and I want to take care of the house, but I also want to do something on the side that is part of my purpose. In my women's ministry, Revive Woman, we talk a lot about the 5 pillars of purpose inside the Proverbs 31 woman. And while she is a godly daughter and a wife and a mother and a sister friend, she's also this woman of purpose, deep purpose. She's driven in that sense of passion to make a difference and have impact. And she wants to bring the kingdom. And this is an important part of us as women. Listen to me. Like I get it. Some of us, all of that is wrapped up in our household and in our marriages and in our kids and in the things that we do in that space. And that's awesome. That's amazing. Like in my ministry, I support a lot of women that are in that headspace and are in that soul space. But then there are some ladies that were like, we have to be doing that other thing and we have to add it in, and we're multi-passionate. And so for those of us who are multi-passionate and trying to do all the things, hashtag all the things, online from home is kind of like the option. Are you feeling me? And so for me, back in 2015, when my babies were smaller, like now my kids are 17, about to be 16, about to be 12. But we're talking, 10 years ago, I had a 2-year-old. I had a toddler. And, I had a lot of life happening. And I just was thinking, I'm not going to go back to a desk job. I had that. I was very successful in the marketplace. Before I had my kids, I worked for a $2 billion publicly traded company as the senior global tax director of accounting. And I traveled all around the world. I was making heavy 6 figures. And I was killing it. I was doing amazing. But I don't want to do that. And I think for a lot of us, that's the thing. We want to be able to have impact and we want to be able to make our mark and we want to be able to do the thing that God has called us to do. But we don't want to have that 9 to 5, go to a job, get chained to a desk. But here's the thing. We love this side hustle situation and this work from home situation, and we love calling it a business, right? But we also have to realize what that means, we're our own bosses. And we've got to manage our own hours, and we've got to make sure that it's all happening. If you've got to make sure that you're actually doing work that actually drives, get it, wait for this, that actually makes you cash money dollars. Because that's what a business is. I hope you understand. I mean, I talked about this in a previous episode of the podcast, but like, you can't keep on calling something a business if it's not making money. That's a hobby. That's a hobby that you're investing in. And maybe it's bringing you a benefit because you're feeling alive in it, or you're being, you're being sharpened in it. You're learning things. You're feeling expanded in it. It brings you enjoyment. That's great. That's not a business. A business, you have to be making money. You have to be generating profit, revenue, and hopefully profit. Okay? Like, that's the goal of a business. And so when we want to do these things on our own, we want to be this entrepreneurial Jesus girl who's building a kingdom business online. Understand, one of those things that you have to be mindful of has to make money. Like, that's got to be a goal of it. Okay? That's like a part of the vision if it's a business. And when you are your own boss, you have to be considering that as well. But here's the rub. Here's the rub. If you are an entrepreneurial Jesus girl who feels called to start and launch and scale a business online, then here's the thing. It's not just a good idea. This isn't just some good idea that it's like, oh, well, if I have a little bit of time in the pockets of my day, if I have a little bit of time left over, then I'm going to try my hand at it. That's not what's happening for us, right? I mean, you can drop it in the comments if you're feeling me, because for those of us who are entrepreneurial Jesus girls, this is a calling. This is a deep passion, something that God has spoken to our heart, and we know that we're called to do this thing. Are you feeling me in this? And so when that happens, there's this tension that occurs. It's this tension between, I know I have to do this, but I also know that as a business, it's supposed to make money. And so we're like, there's this tension that stresses us out sometimes, because it's like, I know I need to do the thing, but I also need to figure out how to make the cash in it, right? We have this desire to be both impactful and to make money. And that's normal. If God's calling you to something, if he's gifted you and equipped you and called you and said, this is your assignment, this is what you were made for, then yeah, that like it makes sense that there's that deep-seated passion and drivenness in a good way, Holy Spirit leading, right? A hunger. Jesus said, blessed are those who hunger, for they will be satisfied. Right? So there's nothing wrong with hunger, and God put that there. But then there's also this knowing in you that like, this has got to generate revenue. And so I want to share something with you, a mindset shift that as we get into, because I want to share 3 keys with you that can unlock a pathway to making your first $1,000 in your business. And then and then beyond, like you could scale it. Okay. But like I said, because we're talking about money, I'm telling you, this is not just about $1,000. I'm not going to give you a pathway to make $1,000 in the next 30 days. That's like, that can be a goal for you, but I'm not guaranteeing you that when you apply, you've got to apply these principles, and you've got to talk to God and pray and know, like, this is what I'm called to do. This is my purpose. This is my assignment. And I know that I'm meant to make money when I do this. And it's not only is it okay to make money when I'm doing this, but I'm called to make money when I'm doing this because I'm a steward. I'm anointed to steward kingdom wealth. And God's given me this business idea so that I can generate wealth. That's what he said. I, the Lord, give you the ability to generate wealth. And so I just really want to encourage you in that. But I think sometimes we get caught in that tension, like I was saying, of the deep weight of this is my calling and I have to walk it out. But at the same time, I need to figure out how to make cash while I'm doing it, right? So let me suggest this mindset shift to you. Are you ready for this? So instead of thinking, I have to launch this idea from God and I have to figure out how to make it make money. Like, let's stop for a second, because I think that many of us have had this problem, right? Because it's like, we know we're called to this. We know that we're meant to do it. But then at the same time, we're in that left brain side of our brain thinking, how do I figure this out? Like for many of us, we don't come from a family of entrepreneurs. We don't come from a long line of people who have been running their own businesses online for generations. Like it was in my generation that the internet even came to be. So it's not even possible for me to look back and see family members who had done businesses online. Make sense? And then when it comes to being an entrepreneur, that wasn't very popular before me. Like in the generation that came before me, having a desk job and staying in that job your entire career was what was normal. Is this making sense? So we, in many ways, Jesus Girl Entrepreneur, we are pioneers. We are stepping out and we are the first to go first. And that's a big deal. And so I want to encourage you to, as you're thinking through this mindset shift, yes, you have this deep-seated desire to be impactful and to build a business that God is calling you to online. But there's also this aspect of, I want to make money while making impact. And I totally get that. But instead of thinking like, the weight's all on me to have to rip this business out of the ground and make it make money, how about this? Think about this. Our God is provision. He provides to the vision. I know this sounds really crazy if you've just now been hearing this, but I think it's like in my 3rd episode of the podcast, I talk about biblical prosperity and I talk about the ways that God provides. And so if you want to go back and listen to that episode, you can. But I have a ministry, money coaching ministry called Position to Prosper. And in that ministry, I teach a 6-week course on getting positioned to prosper in your kingdom finances. And one of the things that we talk about is this idea that prosperity, real biblical prosperity, it's a joint venture with God, where He gives us the vision, we agree to do the work, and then because of that, because we say yes and we trust and obey, and we're going to walk it out with Him, when we do that, then He's going to provide to the vision. Listen, God always pays for what He orders. Like, our church for many years was a part of the C3 movement out of Australia, which is led by Pastor Phil Pringle. And one thing that he says in his book, I think it's the Keys to Excellence, Financial Keys to Excellence, I think is the name of the book. I'm looking over there because it's on my bookshelf. And he says this thing. He says, God wouldn't go into a restaurant and order this big old meal and then dine and ditch. He wouldn't dine and dash. He's going to pay for what He ordered. And you have to understand that if God called you to birth this business in the earth because He wants it to be an expression of His glory, He wants it to be a vehicle of bringing the kingdom into the earth. Sister, you are a Luke 8 lady. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go read Luke 8 verses 1-3. Jesus, as He walked around ministering in the villages, it says that there were women who traveled with Him and they provided for Jesus's ministry out of their substance, out of their own substance, their own finances. And so if He's calling you to birth this business, then He has every intention to provide to the vision and the calling that He's given you. The vision and the calling of this business in your world is a word from God. And He always provides to the word. And so we've got to get to this place where we realize, like, I don't have to figure it out. Are you with me? You don't have to figure this out. God has a plan. He has a plan to provide into the vision that He's given you. But we have to remember something. This is not about proving ourselves. When you make your first money in your business, understand that does not define who you are. It doesn't prove your worth or your value. And it doesn't even prove that you're good at it. I know this is like mind-blowing because it's like, Erica, you're telling me that a business is supposed to make money. Yes, businesses are designed to make money. So when you're doing them the way that you're supposed to be doing them, they will naturally make money. It's because that's what they do. We just have to understand that we have to steward it in the way that we're meant to. And as believers, as followers of Jesus, what that means is you and I, we have to be willing to steward the vision of building and birthing this vision, this dream, this business, the way God called us to it. Is this making sense to you? So what does that mean? It means that getting to your first 1,000 in your business, It's not about proving yourself. It's not going to prove your worth. It's not going to prove your value, but it is about positioning. And it is about planting your flag in faith, in trust, and in obedience to what God has said, what he's commanded you. That as you step into that and you say, you know what, God, if this is what you've given me to do, then I'm going to absolutely trust you. That if you called me to a business, that it's going to be designed by you to make money, to produce wealth, to generate finance. It's going to do that because you called me to a business and I know what a business is. So really where I need to focus and my mindset needs to go is, how can I be a good steward? That's what you and I need to be thinking about. How can we be good stewards of this business idea that he's given us such that we launch it and scale it and it actually is effective for the work of the kingdom? How do we do that? How do we do that? So here's the deal. The money will just flow in when you're in alignment with the God assignment in faith, with trust and obedience. That's the truth. And I've seen that happen time and time and time and time again. I've seen it happen in my own world, but I've also seen it happen in the worlds of the women that I've helped to build and to scale and to do these things. And so if you are in that position where you have this idea and you keep on swirling, you keep on circling that start line, you keep on you're like, Erica, I've launched and then I've relaunched. I've told people I'm embarrassed. I don't want to go back out online and tell people that I'm starting again. Like if you only knew, Erica, how many times I've started this thing. Listen, can I tell you something? I have this story. You know, like I told you, I was in the network marketing industry. I was in the MLM space, and I'm going to talk to you about it in a minute. But it's ruthless. It's hardcore. It's savage because it's like people will tell you like, oh, you can have a business in a box. Here you go. Just for $99, get your starter kit and now you're in business. No, you're not. No, you're not. You are the recipient of a $97 box of opportunity. That's what you have. That's what you have in your hand. But here's the thing. If you're willing to step into alignment with the God assignment and to believe God, to trust him and to believe what he said and to take the steps accordingly to walk out what he's called you to, then my friend, that's when it becomes a possibility. So the question becomes, how do I get aligned? How do I get aligned then and moving with momentum? How do I do that? And since we're talking about the one common assignment that all of us have, if we're gathered around this podcast episode, it's because we are building an online business. We are entrepreneurial Jesus girls who are building a business online from scratch. Amen? That's who we are. Launching and scaling an online kingdom business. So with that, the answer is easy because I'm just talking to one person, you and me. We're that one person. Okay, here's the key. We need a faith-infused framework that connects the vision and the promise that God gave us to the in real life steps that actually launch and scale an online business. See, this is what's missing. What's missing is that framework. Because you can be in lots of different spaces where people can be like, oh, just take this course, give me your $47, give me your $97, and you'll be in business. This is all over the internet. And I'm telling you, you're buying an opportunity. And unless God told you to buy that opportunity, then, it may just stay an opportunity in a box. It may just be some nice products that you purchase. It might just be a real nice hobby where you learned how to do ads online, or you learned how to shoot a YouTube video, or you learned how to set up an Etsy shop, right? Like, it's not really a business until you connect a vision, a calling, an assignment, something that God birthed in your heart that he said to you, I want you to bring this into the world. I want you to birth it and I want you to steward it to fruition. I want you to steward it. I want you to grow it up in real life, right? And there are steps when it comes to an online business. There are actual things that you need to do. We understand this. Like God, when he says, I'm going to provide for you, he doesn't just like rain money out of the sky, right? He'll put something in front of us that we know how to do so that we can generate income. That's how it works. And so when he's given us a business to work, that's what he's going to do. He's going to be like, here you go. I want you to build this this TikTok shop where I want you to sell this XYZ thing that's going to help XYZ person to solve XYZ problem. That's how that's how it's going to come. You're like, Erica, he doesn't talk that specifically. Okay, let me just be really clear with you. Look at the Bible. Look at your Bible. Jesus came on mission, had a people group that he was called to, and he had a target. He had a goal. And there were real steps that he had to take to get to his goal. And the prophecies tell us what those steps were. And his Father was speaking to him from heaven, and those prophecies were confirming the steps. Isn't that wild? So just like Jesus had a purpose and a vision and a mission, and he had a people group that he was called to, he had a specific sound that he was offering, he solved a specific pain point and problem, and he offered a specific solution. Jesus is the ultimate when it comes to looking at how do we do this online when we're growing a business. He didn't do it online, but he still had to do the pieces of what we're going to be talking about. The 3 keys that we're going to be talking about, he had these keys. All right. So like I said, we need this faith-infused framework that actually connects the God vision and assignment that he's given us to birth and build this business into in real life steps that actually launch a business and scale it online for real. Are you getting it? All right. So I'm looking right now at a stack of my vision pictures. That it's not going to like miraculously get up and start walking off the page. You understand that, right? Your vision board isn't just going to pop off the wall and just start living. That's not going to happen. You're not going to, you can go to as many prayer lines as you want, but you're not going to pop off the prayer line and into an online business. Like it doesn't work like that. There's work. We actually have to do work. Jesus said, wisdom is shown to be true by her children. So what he's saying there is the wisdom that you have in you, it's shown to be true because you walk it out. Faith without works is dead. Okay, so we have to come to the place where we realize, like, I can want to have a business all I want. I can want to launch it all I want. I can see other people all around me doing this and being successful at it. And I can keep sitting here and wondering, why can't I get this done? And I really want to get it done. But until we're willing to do the steps and we do the steps, then we will not be able to launch our business. And that's really what these 3 keys are for how to launch and scale an online business are. Okay. So I need you to understand, because like I told you, I was an MLM for a really long time. One of the biggest things that you get told when you're out there on the internet streets and you're watching people who are slinging direct marketing products, direct sales products, right? And we see them all the time. It's like, they're like, well, not only can you buy these products and they'll change your life, but do you want an extra stream of income? Do you want to start a little extra side income from home? Because I can show you how to do that. And you just get this starter kit, and then, just from there, I can help you to have a business. Like, it's a business in a box, right? Can I tell you something? Can I tell you the real statistic? Only between 1% and 3% of the people who actually pick up that opportunity make it to the top levels of leadership in a business like that. That means that at least 97% of us who step into those opportunities, we never even hit the significant leadership levels. What does that mean? It means that those of us who are not in that top 3%, we're likely not even making $1,000 a month from that opportunity. And yet we're calling it a business. And the thing is, like, $1,000 a month is a big deal to some people. And like, that's fine. If that's what you want your business to make is $1,000 a month, and you're working it like a business, and that's the result you're getting, and you're happy with that result, then good on you. But for most of us, we're not going to call $1,000 a month a business. That's side income. That's a side hustle. right? And that's fine if that's what you're looking for. But I'm talking to women, entrepreneurial Jesus girls, kingdom women who want to make a business out of this. They want to have impact and make income. And if that's you, then there are 3 keys that I want to hand to you right now so that you can stop swirling around that starting line and the false starts and the soft launch, and then it didn't work out. So now I'm coming back. I never really had that hard launch that got you into the momentum of making real money. If that's you, then listen, there's 3 keys, 3 things that you need to know. Now, I'll tell you, these 3 keys come out of a 5-step framework that I teach on. It's called the Build with Faith framework. And in just less than 2 weeks, I'm going to be teaching this inside of a workshop called the Jesus Girls Business Launch Lab. I'll tell you a little bit about it at the end of this episode, but yeah, so I'm going to be teaching this 5-step framework in its fullness in that workshop. But today I want to pull out 3 of the pieces as keys that are going to help you to get started building this momentum so that you can start making real money in your real business. Does that sound good? All right. Do you have your journal and your pen? Okay, because this is the place where we take notes. Okay, number 1 key. You ready? Number 1 key. The first key that you need to unlock making real money in your real business is clarity on your offer. You need clarity on what you offer. You're like, what do you mean, Erica? I am partnered with this brand. I'm an affiliate marketer. I'm a direct sales marketer. Like, I have a company and they tell me what I'm offering. And I have a product line of 600 products. And when there's a sale, I get really excited. Listen, that's not your offer. That's the business that you're partnered with. That's their offering suite. That's their product suite. That's theirs. That's not your offer. What do you have to offer? You got to pick one thing. When I was in direct sales, the smart business, savvy business people, they would teach you like, hey, look, I know that your business that you're partnered with has 600 products. Pick one, or pick a suite, like pick a bundle and be known for that bundle or that product. Go all in on that. And I'm like, are you serious? I have access to selling all of these products, but you want me to just sell one thing or one bundle when I have access to all this? Don't you think people would be really excited to know that they have access to all that? And the smartest, savviest business people were like, absolutely not. You need to be known for one thing. You need to be really good at one thing. You want to know the story behind why one thing works. You want to know your story behind how it changed your life. You want to know how it can transform the lives of the people that you serve. You need to have testimonials around that one thing. You need to get really good at producing that one result in the people that you serve, if you're a coach or if you're a services person. Is this making sense? Because if you have multiple things that you do and you're constantly changing, telling people, well, I could do this for you, or I could do this for you, I could do for this for you, no one's going to buy from you because they're still learning like all the things that are possible. They don't really get it. And so some of the hardest advice that I ever got early on in my career as an entrepreneur, but some of the best advice that I ever got early on in my career as an entrepreneur was be known for one thing. Get good at one thing. Get good at one thing. And this one thing that you do that you're gonna offer, it needs to represent you. It needs to represent your sound, what you are made to do, what you're made to help with. So like, for instance, when I was I guess we're just going to be talking about MLMs today. I guess we're just going to be talking about direct sales and direct marketing. But this applies to anything that you're doing online in business, okay? But back when I was doing that, and I was successful at it, like I was making a good amount of money, but the thing is, the way I did it was I was like, I'm a certified holistic health coach. And I specifically work with women who are overwhelmed and burned out and are probably experiencing adrenal fatigue and hormone imbalance. So my one thing was an adrenal support bundle. And like I told you, I worked with health support products. So I had a bundle of like 5 items that were bundled into this package. And I taught relentlessly on those 5 things. That's the only 5 things that I talked about. Like I was like, this is what this is good for. 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 And I just taught on those 5 things. But more than that, I probably taught on that maybe like 10 or 20% of the time on my public feeds. But the other 80 to 90% of the time, I was talking to my person, which we're going to talk about in a minute, about the things that were around that problem that she faced, how she felt about that problem, the problems that it caused, that root problem caused, and all the different strategies and all the different ways that we could address it. I didn't just talk about my product. I talked about scripture. I talked about sanctification. I talked about lifestyle habits. I spoke to this one thing. Do you see? My one thing wasn't a product first. My one thing was a solution. So what I want you to understand is you've got to define your offer in terms of this one little phrase, WIFM. Have you heard this? If you've not heard this yet, this is going to be gold. Write it down. WIIFM. WIIFM. Your person is sitting out there saying, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? And so you have to define your offer in terms of what is the solution or transformation that this person is going to get when they purchase my offer. Is that making sense? It's a big deal because if all you can do is talk about the features and benefits of what you offer, you're going to lose people. Because I can guarantee you that a lot of people are offering what you have to offer. So you've got to understand, what's my unique selling proposition? You got to know, like, what makes me different? What differentiates me? Because you might think all you want, like, oh, well, this thing that I offer, no one else is offering it, right? It's the first to market, blah, blah, blah. Okay. All right. There are many different ways to address the problem that your first to market solution solves for. And not everyone is going to want it the way that you're offering it. But here's the thing, the way you offer it, how you position it, how you explain the transformation, how you explain how you get to the solution and what it's going to make them feel like and what the process is like with you. That's a big part of your offer. So the number one key in really being able to start making income in that business that you're launching and scaling is to get clarity on your offer. Make sense? Because if you're only offering your thing when it's on sale, if you're only offering the features and the benefits, but you're not talking about the transformation, if your offer changes all the time because you're like, this isn't making money, that's not making money, and you're just switching it up all the time because you're just trying to figure out what's going to make you a quick buck, sister, listen, that right there creates a barrier to your being able to make money. And you want to stop that right now. You want to get clarity on your offer. Once you get clarity, once you clarify your offer, the path to your first 1,000 and beyond will become clear. The path, it's gonna present itself because that is the path. The path is your clear offer. Okay? Number 2 key that's going to help you to start finding that momentum to make real money in your business is connecting with the right customer. So remember when I was talking about Jesus being like the ultimate marketer and how we could look at his ministry and learn some things? Even Jesus had an ideal customer, an ideal congregant, an ideal listener. Okay? I know you're like, Erica, you're offending my brain. It's okay. You're going to be fine. Jesus is the best example for everything in life. And so when we look at the way that he addressed crowds, and he engaged crowds, and then he took his disciples a little further away and he went deeper with his disciples, and the exchange and the connection points were different between the crowd and between the disciples. Like, we start to understand he was very savvy in understanding how to change up messaging to meet the people's needs that were right in front of him. But we also know that when Jesus was sent into the earth, he was sent to the people of God. He was sent to the Jews. And there were multiple times when someone came to him and was like, can you help me with this? And he was like, sorry, I wasn't sent for you. Now, they made themselves someone that he was sent for because they turned on their faith. And so what I want you to understand is when you clarify and you identify the right customer that you're meant to be connecting with, I know that it feels like you're going to avoid or you're going to cut out a whole bunch of people. And you're like, Erica, I need more customers. I don't even have one customer. Now you're telling me to like exclude a whole bunch of customers. I don't know why it works like this. It is some Holy Spirit, wonderful, made by God magic, but not magic because it's blessing, is that when you clarify who you're talking to and who you're trying to attract to your offer, they appear. They appear. The minute you're like, this is who this is for. This is who I'm talking to. The rest fall away and your sound becomes really clear and it's like a magnet. And you just draw the right people right to you. I need you to understand something. Just because you want customers doesn't justify you thinking that everyone is your customer. You don't want dollars from just anybody. You really do not want to be worried. I just need to get a few dollars and then I'll work on that. No. If you keep on thinking like if I could just make a few dollars real quick, then it'll all break open. Sister, you need your person. Because I'm telling you what, like we're hounding our family and our closest friends. And a lot of times, most times, that isn't your ideal customer. I need you to understand that. When the person who opened up Chipotle or opened up Walmart was opening up their store, I can guarantee you that they did not go, well, you know what, let's start with our family and our close friends and let's see if we can like get some business going if we just invite our family and our close friends. I am certain that they did their marketing work and they were like, this is who we're meant to serve. This is who is going to respond to what we have to offer. And so they sat down and they defined that person. Now for you and me, that starts with prayer, because I'm telling you, just like the Father sent Jesus to a specific people group, He's sending you to a specific people group. And what's really cool is that ideal person, that right person that you're meant to serve, he or she, whoever you're called to serve, they fit perfectly with that clear offer that we just talked about. So when you put those two things together, when they kiss, that's where your money is, sister, right there. Between key 1 and 2, clarifying your offer and identifying your ideal customer. When you put those two together, that's where it hits. And that's why I'm telling you that key number 3 is a system for putting those two things together. How do you get the right messaging in front of the right person that drives them to the right offer that you have? How do you put all that together? That's the system. That's why I'm telling you that when someone says to you, it's a business in a box, go ahead and get it. You're like, okay, so I have this general offer. It's not clear. It's not boiled down. It's not associated with what I do really well, what I'm known for, what I'm gifted to do, how I operate, how I serve people. Okay. And you're just telling me to go out and offer it and most times in those scenarios, they're telling you to go to your family and close friends first. You need to get clear on your offer and align it with who God made you to be and the business that He told you to build. And then you need to identify your core customer, your ideal customer. And you need to put those things together in a framework, follow a system that puts those things together and gets the right messaging in front of the right person so that they are drawn to your offer. Is this making sense? You need a system for putting it all together in an effective way that drives sales without drowning you. And a lot of times what that means is, do you know how to turn leads, that's all that means is interested people and followers, people that are listening to you, into customers? Do you know how to do that conversion? Do you know how to do that? Because here's what they're not telling you. No one's telling you this. They're like, oh, it's easy. It's just sharing. No, it's not. It might be sharing to your friends and family, but that is not. You need to know sales. You need to know how to drive sales, how to turn leads, interested parties, people that are asking questions and kicking tires. You don't want tire kickers, but you want people who are interested and are asking questions. You need to know how to help them to come over to the buyer side. So you need a lead to sales system. You need to know the steps that you need to take. It's a skill set. Do you have that? And also in this online world, you need a tech stack. You need to know how to do these. Like, do you know how to put an offer together online? Do you know how to automate that offer? Do you know how to get it in front of people so that when they comment a certain word in your DMs or in your comments, that they can get automated and notes sent back to them even while you're sleeping that says, oh, hey, I'm so glad that you're interested in this. Here's the link if you want to grab a hold of it. If you have any other questions, just let me know. When I wake up, I'll write you back. Right? Like, it's that simple. But if you don't know how to set up those systems behind the scenes, if you don't know how to do a landing page where you can get someone's email and name so that you can send them information, if you don't know how to host a membership or your digital course online, you don't know how to set up a platform to do that, if you don't know how to set up your website, if you don't know what's important and what to do first and what to do second, if you don't know how all those things talk together, if you get overwhelmed by that, sister, you're lacking the system that's going to put that offer and the people together and get it to work together to be a sale. Does that make sense? So these are the 3 things that you absolutely need so that you can start to be making real money in that business that you're trying to launch and scale. Is this making sense to you? Listen, you've probably believed this lie that if God gave you this vision, if he assigned you, if he called you, that you've probably got to figure this out all alone. Like, I know my people. Like, remember we were saying you need to know who your people are? I know who my Jesus girl is. She's ambitious. She's multi-passionate. She's a self-starter. Is this describing you? Is this who you are? Tell me in the comments. If you're watching and you consider yourself to be a Jesus girl, an entrepreneur who is ambitious, she's a self-starter. She's like, I can figure this out. I can make this work. I can do all the things. Yeah, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. I'm feeling like I keep on hitting a brick wall, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to get there at some point. Sometimes I get discouraged. Sometimes I feel like I'm winding down. Sometimes I want to quit if I'm being really honest. But that thing that's on the inside of me just keeps on pushing me forward. And that's why I'm sitting here listening to this episode, Erica, because I want to make this work. If that's you, then what I also know about you is that you're hyper responsible. That a lot of the times you think to yourself, well, it's just me. I got to figure it out all by myself. But can I tell you something? That's not biblical, sis. That's not biblical. God all the time is putting people into your life. He didn't assign you this calling to get you stuck in the swamp somewhere. He's not going to abandon you in this thing. You've got this. But you've also got to understand that you're going to stay stuck if you don't realize that it's okay to get help. It's okay to, find a system and build your foundation from a system that's being offered to you with some help and with some support. Because look, if you're hearing this and you've been trying to launch and scale all on your own because you believe that lie that if he gave it to me, then I got to figure it out on my own. Well, then listen, this is exactly why I created the Jesus Girls Business Launch Lab that is going live on August 18th. Okay. It's open right now for registration, jesusgirlgang.com/launch lab. But listen to me. Inside of that 3-day live interactive workshop that I'm going to be leading, like really my face, really live on Zoom calls where it's interactive. You can get in the chat. You can ask questions. I'm going to be teaching you, but we're also going to have a community where you can drop things in. We can interact. You'll find encouragement, support, accountability. You can all the things. It truly is a 3-day live interactive experience. Okay. But in there, you're going to get traction. You're going to find a peaceful way to build, and I'm going to hand you the proven faith-first framework called the Build with Faith framework. It's 5 steps to finally get your business launch and scale online. And these 3 keys that I just talked to you about, offer, ideal customer, and the systems that you need, I'm handing those to you inside of this workshop, okay? So listen, you do not need to be going out there and finding more freebies to try and piece together while you're trying all the things and it's just causing the swirl. You do not need that. You do not need to be watching all the YouTube videos and trying to figure out which one is going to fit you the best. Listen, this 5-step framework that I'm going to share with you, it works for every online business. I'm telling you, if you are looking to start a business online, you want to gather your customers online, and you want to serve your customers from an online space, this is the perfect workshop for you. And listen, it's just $27. Okay, so it's going to be happening online from August 18th to the 20th, 3 days, right? And there are replays are included. In the $27, your replays are included. So if you're like, Erica, I don't know if I can get there live, it's okay. You can watch the replays. There's a community group, so we can engage in there. If you're like, I missed the replay, but I really need some in-person like connection, great, jump into the group, post something up, let's chat, okay? Also, there are 10 bonuses in this program. 10 things that are going to help you to be able to apply the framework. So just the other day on one of my ads that I have running for the Launch Lab, I had a woman comment and she was like, hey, I'm so sorry to be doing this out in public in the comments, which by the way, I was so thankful. Shout out to Kristen. I'm so thankful that she posted this post on the public ad, but she was like, I'm so sorry to be posting this up, but are you gonna for the $27 is everything gonna get taught in it? Or are you gonna be telling me that I need to buy another course? I need to know because I've been burned at this before. I've already bought so many courses, so many workshops, and I get in there and they've only given me a piece of it. And then I find out on the last day that I have to buy something else. Can you be transparent with me? I said to her, you can go see this ad. If you're watching this in real time, you could probably go find it out online. I was like, thank you so much for asking this question live. I am so grateful to have the opportunity to be transparent in the comments of this ad because I want people to know. I am going to teach you all 5 steps of the Build with Faith framework in the workshop. You are going to get every bit of the framework in these 3 days. You are going to walk out of this workshop with everything you need to know so that you can apply the 5 steps like that. You can do it. I'm not holding anything back. I'm not gatekeeping. I'm not. However, I said to her, I will be offering you something else on day 3 of the workshop. And I'm so glad that I got to tell people this because here's the thing. You may get to the point in the workshop where you're like, this is awesome. She's given me all the things. But the next step is, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do next. How am I going to implement this? Well, sister, I've got you. If you get to day 3 and you're like, I don't want to go off on my own and do it, I'll offer you something. My point is, get into the workshop now. Because if your question is she going to show me everything I need to know? 1,000% yes. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know from this 5-step framework so that you could leave the workshop and implement it yourself. Now, the question of whether you want to implement it yourself or not at the end, that's on you, boo. We'll talk about it on day 3 of the workshop. I do want you to know, full disclosure, that there is a way for us to keep working together after the workshop if you want it, but it's not required. You will have everything you need to know after the $27 workshop to get this stuff implemented into your own business so that you can launch and scale online. Is that cool? So if you want to join me for that workshop and stop the swirl and finally get past the starting line and into scaling your business and making some real money, then go to jesusgirlgang.com/launch lab and get signed up, okay? Do it soon. I know we've still got a little bit of time, but go ahead and reserve your seat. Jump in there. Let's get in it together because here's the thing. One of the things that you get access to immediately when you join the Launch Lab is 3 mindset activations. So you get those immediately upon joining. And I encourage you to listen to those mindset activations before we get into the sessions. I really believe that these are great prerequisites and precursors for getting in. So like I said, the doors to the Jesus Girls Business Launch Lab are open right now. You can either keep swirling or you can start building with me, with my help and with the community support, right? So jump in. It's going to be so good. I want to help you to actually build and launch and scale what God gave you to do because that's my passion, friend. My passion is to help Jesus girls who are entrepreneurial to get their sound and their solution out into the world so that they're actually helping the people they're called to help, having impact and making income so they can expand the kingdom for Jesus. Isn't that so amazing? That's what lights me up every single day. And so if you want to work with me and if you want to do that together, then I want to encourage you to hop into the Jesus Girls Business Launch Lab that starts on August 18th, okay? All right. So that's what we have for this week's episode. I hope that it blessed you. If you want to chat about it some more, come find me over on social media. Find me on Instagram. I'm at Erica Pyle. I'm sure that I'll be posting up about this episode, and you can just drop comments on that post or get into the Launch Lab. All right, JesusGirlGang.com/Launch Lab. All right, friend, until next week, I pray you have a really wonderful week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.